Our next speaker is Dr. Jodie Rummer. She's a Senior Research Fellow at the Centre for Excellence for Coral Reef Studies. In 2011, she was awarded an Australian Research Council Super Science Fellowship and was just recently awarded a UNESCO L'Oreal Award for Women in Science in Australia and New Zealand, and a fellowship came from that as well. And she's here to talk to you something you vaguely knew about, that fish are remarkable athletes.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you everyone for coming. When you think of a remarkable athlete, perhaps your first thoughts are humans, maybe incredible speed, maybe endurance, strength, agility, and especially lately, if you're into rugby, a lot of this strength, agility, and speed. So what I want to ask is, what do we all have in common with these elite athletes? Now, before your imagination goes crazy, I'll give you a hint. You're doing it right now. Well, your blood is. Nearly every one of the 50,000 vertebrate species on the planet today, so that's all of the animals with backbones, do this. They possess an oxygen-transporting protein within their blood called hemoglobin. In the lungs, in our lungs, or in the gills of water breathers, hemoglobin will rapidly absorb the oxygen from the environment that we're breathing. When the blood arrives to our tissues, such as our heart or our muscles, the hemoglobin will release oxygen to fuel metabolism. Hemoglobin is found within the red blood cells, and the environment within that cell determines how the hemoglobin either holds on to oxygen or releases it. So if you think about it, nearly every aspect of athletic training comes down to oxygen. Blood flow, blood volume, how the respiratory surface, like our lungs, functions to get oxygen from the air, how our heart pumps our blood around our bodies to give that oxygen to our contracting muscles. In fact, some athletes will even try to trick their bodies by training where there is less oxygen, say at high altitude. So just a quick Google search will show you all of these different ways that athletes can trick their bodies so that their bodies will make those adjustments more quickly or to a greater degree. Oxygen transport in athletes and the changes that can be made to enhance performance is a topic that I've been investigating over almost a decade or so of my career. However, the athletes that I am most passionate about and curious about breathe water. Estimates for the numbers of fish species range between at least 20,000, probably closer to 30,000. So that means that over half of the 50,000 living vertebrates on the planet are fish. Fish also occupy nearly every body of water on the planet, spanning the extremes from the Antarctic to desert pools, even habitats with very low oxygen. In fact, their training facilities, so to speak, reach back 400 million years. Fish have been training in variable conditions for hundreds of millions of years, even before the dinosaurs. In fact, the Silurian and Devonian are known as the age of the fishes. Those periods coincided with prolonged periods of elevated CO2 or carbon dioxide and low oxygen levels. How have the fishes done this? We must go back to the blood. So fishes also possess this hemoglobin, this oxygen transporting protein in their blood, but their hemoglobin is unique. It's much more pH sensitive than in any other vertebrate like ourselves, and even other water breathers like sharks. And the result of this is that fish can be up to 50 times more effective in releasing oxygen to their tissues than we can, and also than any other air-breathing animal. This information tells us how fish have adapted this very important process of getting oxygen and delivering it to where it needs to be so that they can live in all kinds of conditions, warm or cold water, waters with high or low oxygen levels. So we think that this trait might be particularly important for some of the notorious athletes of the aquatic world. The bluefin tuna, for example, so the fastest adult fish in the ocean. The long-distance endurance swimming of the Pacific salmon, and the agility and quick recovery from exercise in other species like our friends on the Great Barrier Reef. My models suggest that during stress or after exercise, fish can double or even triple oxygen delivery in their bodies, which is incredible. Indeed, for fish, enhanced oxygen delivery may have been one of the most important traits or adaptations of their 400 million year evolutionary history. But today, the greatest threat to these aquatic athletes' training facility is global climate change. Through carbon emissions, pollution, habitat destruction, we're changing our oceans at a rate faster than it's ever been documented in human history. And the big question, will their evolutionary history be enough? Is 400 million years of evolutionary history enough for them to survive the changes that are happening to their habitats today? So with this new understanding of blood oxygen transport, I'm tracking the athletic capacity of Great Barrier Reef fishes under lots of different conditions, scenarios we're predicting for the end of the century, various stressors across different species, across development, and across generations. And this is all to determine their capacity for future adaptations in a rapidly changing ocean, and ultimately for us to determine how global change will affect futures of marine ecosystems and biodiversity. So with this research and our collective conservation efforts, all of the research that we're doing as a team here to keep the oceans healthy, let's make sure that the fishes do remain the greatest athletes on the planet. Thank you.